Hi, Merch Money. We are live with Neil Laston.
Hello, hello.
We were just talking before where we're like, we didn't really think about the date that we were doing this show. We're like the night before the election. Like,
That's good though, because tomorrow, I am not going to be anywhere else besides watching the computer and the TV all day. All day.
exactly.
Let's
So for
get
people watching this in the future, it's November 2nd, 2020, and there is a very big election happening in the United States tomorrow. So
you know what's crazy is I feel like so many of my friends from other countries are almost more involved in our election, like the news cycle wise,
yeah.
than a lot of the people that I know that live here in
Yep.
real life. It's everyone is just laser focused on
Yeah.
what's going on.
So it's before the election, so we don't know the result yet. But right now, people are thinking Biden's going to win. So we'll have to see how that goes tomorrow. I don't know, and we probably won't know the answer tomorrow either. So
yeah, if it's close,
we'll see. It's going to be an interesting week, that's for sure. But yeah, there's been so much happening this year. So for one thing, Neil recently got engaged. So congratulations!
Thank you.
Very exciting. And you live in Colorado, so all kinds of stuff happening there this year.
Our whole state is on fire, so anyone out there that lives here knows what I'm talking about. Smoke everywhere. It's been rough. But hey, we only have 2 more months of 2020, so we'll have to see what else comes.
I was just going to say, I'm like, that sounds so long. Like, just because of how much has already happened, it's like, oh my God, 2 more months. Anything could happen, but hopefully not. But I'm glad there's some good mixed in. You got engaged. That's exciting, and I'm glad that your house is fine. So you weren't too affected, hopefully.
Yeah, not too much. We just watched from outside. Watched as the fire came down the mountains, and I was telling Helen before we got on here, it burned some houses down. So bad.
Well, let's before we go too far, let's say hi to everybody. Teresa, thank you so much. She's saying we're having a pregame party here, maybe a tailgate party.
Ooh, that should be fun.
There we go. Christine, Roy, or I'm not sure how to say your name. And then Merch on, all kinds of people. Thank you guys. Rich.
Hello.
Yes.
I tried to bring up let's see here. Too many windows everywhere. I see it.
It's at least on StreamYard, you should be able to see on the comment. Like if you click comments, it should.
I was on the private chat. I see him now. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that way it compiles if people are watching on Facebook or on YouTube. And my dad's watching, so everyone say hi to Glenn Ruffner. That's my dad, and he just had a big birthday, turned 60, and got a new job. So it's very exciting. He got a job that he really wants to do, so it's really exciting. And bought a brand new house, and they remodeled it, and it's amazing. So he's having a good year. He's like, I don't know what's happening with everybody else with 2020.
House in 1 year. Kudos to that. That's a lot of work.
Yep. So Angie's there. Oh, Mom's watching too. Hi, Mom. Yeah. So I'm glad that everyone knows that Merch Informer is so much more important than watching the news and everything happening with the election.
They have to take a break from it at some point.
Exactly. We'll be back on tomorrow. October has been great on merch. How about you guys? Well, that's good. I've heard a lot of people saying it wasn't great.
So yeah, it was definitely. I was like, wait a minute, it isn't October right now. I'm like, no, it's a new one. Yeah, October was awesome. I feel like at the beginning of October and sort of in September, things started to take off. From what I could tell. 80-20 rule definitely applies, though. I mean, so I've been looking at, my stats and stats of people that I know. And, most of the income, most of the royalties are coming from about 20% of the designs, even though that the accounts have, 70, 80, 90,000 products live on them. It's really only those main few sellers that are boosting the revenue up super, super tall. And I know I always talk about reviews and pricing and everything, but like the shirts if you're brand new to this, you probably don't have a shirt like this, but the shirts that have like 100 plus, 200 plus reviews are exploding. It's just ridiculous.
Speaking of that, I remember the first show that you did with us. You were talking about reviews and everything, and I was agreeing with you. And then we were talking about pricing, and we were explaining about how some people just want to tier up, and some people it was more about like how much you were making, and you're like, I don't understand people that just want to tier up. So then I had to be devil's advocate and be like, well, I am one of those people that just want to tier up because I feel like if you have higher tiers, you'll be given more products and this and that. And it was so funny because my number at the time was getting to 10,000. And then this year, if you were 10,000, you automatically got bumped up to 20,000. And then if you were at 20,000, you automatically bumped up to 100,000. So I'm like, I was right. I just had the wrong number. I should have been aiming for 20,000 instead of 10,000. But anyway, at least that.
But to be fair, at the end of the day, it's not the amount of slots you have that pay any.
Yeah. No, exactly.
It's the stuff that you sell through. And I mean, it only takes one shirt. Like I know we see, in Facebook groups, the one person that has, 8 shirts live and they have like 400 sales a day or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're probably infringing on something, but there's always going to be that time where there's like a really, really good shirt. I know someone that we know created a Halloween shirt 2 or 3 years ago, and that thing has done, tens of thousands of dollars off that one shirt.
Yeah. It makes such a difference. Yeah. As time goes on, like once is like, that's what I have too. Like I don't have any that made $10,000, but I have some that still sell from 2017. So it's like, I mean, by that time, if it's still selling in 2020, it's like, it feels like it's just never going to go away. Cause it's like, it's got so many sales, so many reviews by now. I mean, who knows, maybe it will, but if you can get,
I mean, if you have the number of reviews on your product, it's going to stick. Cause I mean, you'll have people coming in today who throw up their first 10 shirts. And I mean, coming in today, you have to have original concepts and you have to be able to get those in front of people, whether that's, optimizing your actual listings with the right keywords, whether it's like unique angles or running traffic, because shirts that are already up there, I mean, they already have the sales velocity. They've been up for 2017. 3 years. They've been selling through consistently. Like those are not going away.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting. You guys have to watch that first interview to see what unfolded in the years. There's something to be said for both sides, because it's like some of the people that just focus on how much money they can make from each one. It's like
I'm probably very argumentative in that.
You end up it's like most people, it's only about 20% of your shirts that really take off. So it's like you have a smaller number of opportunities to get one of those shirts to take off. I don't know. I think, and then also you end up being able to get products earlier. And so there's pluses and minuses to every decision you make. But I have definitely switched over ever since I hit 10K. I've switched over to having higher prices on everything. I've completely switched the strategy. So if people listen to me now, they'll be like, what are you talking? You sound so different than you did like a year or two ago. But it's because I feel like I have enough slots now. Like, I don't feel like
you're in that position that you weren't 2 years ago.
Yes.
Let's say you have a business. It can be a business selling anything. It could be selling Snicker bars.
Yeah.
If your business, no matter what you're selling, is able to sell 1,000 units, and all your competitors can sell 5, like who do you think is going to get the majority of the business? Once you're selling that volume, once you've been around for a while, you can price whatever you want. Like the shirts that have 20 reviews. I mean, that's a lot of reviews for one shirt. You can price that at whatever you want, and it's going to sell. But right out of the gate, pricing your shirt at like, $29.99.
Right.
Like, well, I sold one, so clearly this is the best strategy. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
you can raise it later. That's what's so funny. It's like, as long as you get a sale, then raise it or do whatever. But anyway, there's so many different strategies. Everybody has a point. But my strategy was to price low for a very long time, and now I'm finally pricing high. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
hey, speaking of which, something we should bring up is: are you getting any rejections for your pop sockets that are being kicked into review?
I haven't noticed any. I haven't.
I'm getting some, and I'm getting a lot of people messaging me like, well, this has been up for, whenever pop.
I have noticed. I've been going through, like, ever since they added all these new marketplaces and cell phone cases and stuff, I've been going through some of my designs that have done well and adding them to all the products, and speaking of which, using your trademark tool and noticing that some of the words were trademarked. So I had to cancel and not put it on everything. But I think it's kind of.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm kind of happy that this happens where you go back and review stuff to add it to new products. Because then, first of all, some of the stuff I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, there are like no keywords in this listing whatsoever. Or, like I end up being able to add some things to it, make it a little better.
Well, I think they're running through, so they're switching, for everyone that's not familiar, they're switching the normal pop sockets to, apparently pop socket has a new pop socket where you can switch out the tops.
I like that. I think
those,
cool.
I've never seen one in person yet. I should probably buy one. But anyways, they're being kicked under review while they switch on the merch platform. And, if you put like gold or marble or something like that,
right,
that's getting kicked back under review, goes to their little checker. And all of a sudden, you're getting a bunch of denials for stuff that was okay,
but that's a good point. Like, if you notice that something is like what I was saying, if I had noticed some of mine had trademarks when I was about to put on other products, so then I have an opportunity to take it down before it gets taken down by merch. I don't know if it really matters. Like, I don't know if you get penalized or not, but I just take it down myself if I notice it's trademarked.
You're not going to get penalized if it's something completely non-obvious,
Right.
If this long string of characters happens to be trademarked that no one in their right mind would think is a brand, merchants are going to penalize you for that. But I mean, if you're putting Nike and NCIS or whatever in your listing, clearly you have an issue. But on the trademark front, I should point out that when people are using the Merch Informer trademark checker, which is just literally one button you click,
it's amazing, guys. If you have not tried that, it's part of Merch Informer. Is it free too? Like, is there a way to get it without merch, or how does that work?
So you can download it for free. It's on the Chrome store. You're going to need a login for it. And all it does is you'll click a button for either t-shirts, which is in the 025 category, or pop sockets and faux cases, which is in 009. And all it's going to do is it's going to read through your listing, like bullet points, title, description. It's going to highlight anything that's trademarked in those categories. But the one thing, now that we have an audience, the one thing I need to point out is that if something is trademarked, one word or something, it doesn't mean that you can't use it. It means that you should click it and go over to the USPTO and actually read through it. Like, look at their specimen, because I get asked this probably like 10 times a day.
I also didn't understand when I first saw it. I was like, I feel like everything's red. Like, what does this mean? And then I started to realize, like, mostly you pay attention to the words if it's like 2 or 3 or more together.
Exactly. But if you see something like, let's say, for example, fish, gets it's red. So you click it and you go over and you're like, oh my gosh, fish is trademarked in 025. What you have to actually do is go in and look at, like, what specimen did they submit to the USPTO? How are they using that trademark on, a good? They might have put that on a piece of clothing that has nothing to do with your shirt that says, I love fishing, it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like, nothing to do with it. There would be no customer confusion. So, like, absolutely you can use it. But you need to be willing to actually go in and look at this stuff. Don't just take it at face value,
but that has helped me so much, because it's so quick to just check it, and it just checks all the words for you. So I always do that before I add it to new products or list it for the first time. And it makes me feel safer before you click like submit and it's like 60 new products or something.
Well, before we made that, I would spend hours.
Because you type in everything.
You have no idea what to search for. Like, you have a listing, you have a title, your 2 bullets, a description, and you have no idea which combination of words you should actually look for.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, I'm just making guesses. I'm like, well, that might be a brand. I don't know. Click.
Yeah.
And, half the time I'd miss something. I'd be like, okay, I got a rejection. And back then they didn't tell you what it was for. So now you're sitting there guessing.
Yes,
like,
and now you don't know what to do. Yeah. Oh my God. It's a lifesaver, guys. If you have not used it, you need it. Because it helps so much. And it makes
just underused tool, honestly.
Really? People don't. I use it every day. or not whenever I list, which should be every day, but it's not. But it used to be.
Whenever you have designs is the day that you should upload.
Yeah. So okay, so guys, I have this like long list of all the stuff to talk about today. So Trademark Tool. There we go. I can put a check mark. And make sure you click both. There's one for t-shirts and then there's one for pop sockets. Check both.
And then when you click pop sockets, just know that's going to check 009, which is also where
cell phone cases
are. So
yeah.
We just haven't updated the little thing because there's only so much room that you can type into a
yeah.
button, so.
Yeah. So why don't you just briefly explain Merch Informer for anyone that's new, because there has been so many new people. Thank you guys all for joining the group, joining the YouTube channel. I feel bad. I have not been nearly as active this year as last year, and yet we have like twice the amount of people. So for everybody new, I'm so sorry. We'll try to get better.
Yeah, no, I mean, putting it simply, Merch Informer is just like a suite of tools that help you figure out what customers want to buy, so that you can provide them, items, products for sale on merch, and make sure they actually get in front of the right audience. So I mean, that is the most boiled down version.
I was going to say, basically, it's everything. So
yeah, there's a little. I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of stuff in there, and most people aren't going to use it for everything. They're going to use it for like maybe one or two things,
which is worth it for one or two things. But that's why I want to touch on everything, because even people that have been doing merch for a long time, like myself included, you forget about different parts of it. So actually,
everything we built in there though is like, it's either I wanted it for my own merch business, or like people came to us and were like, this would be really helpful.
Christina is one of those people.
Yes,
she messages you all the time.
Can you add this? And the answer is usually like, well, probably. Depends. Sometimes it takes a little while.
She always tells me they'll do it. Like she doesn't even like worry about it. She's like, it'll happen. Speaking of which, she apologizes for not being here tonight. So
her thing is the designer. She must use that thing like 24/7.
Oh my God. Her entire business, so she's 100K tier. I think every single design, or almost every single design, was made on Merch Informer Designer Tool. So
that is a life send, like for people like me who have no graphic abilities.
Exactly. I was the same way. I always bought designs. So guys, if you listen way back, first few episodes, I was always talking about buying designs. I literally started Merch Money and was like 6 months into the show before I had ever designed a shirt ever. My brother, if he's watching, my mom and dad are watching. My brother started designing t-shirts because of the show, and then he's like, wait, Helen, you don't know how to design shirts? So I was at the beach. I was at the beach with him, and he showed me how from my show. I'm like, oh, thanks.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's very easy. Merch Design Tool or Merch Informer is so easy. So if you are not a designer, if you are a designer, you probably will like Photoshop or other things better, but I don't know, maybe you won't, because it has everything you need. So tell us about the design tool. First of all, it's very simple to use.
Moving back, you would usually harp on, Photoshop. I have it, but the only things that I can do in Photoshop professionally are drag and drop and type. Like that's it. And it hasn't changed in 4 years that I've been doing this business. So I mean, that's kind of what we built the designer around. So it's, dragging and dropping and typing. So it's got, you can import whatever images you want. We were talking before the show, you can actually use it to create like a bunch of different designs all at once.
So variation tool, that's something I looked up the video because I was like, what did he call it? I want to say the right thing. And I think he just called it like a variation tool.
I think I just called it whatever. Yeah.
But I looked and it was like 2,000 views or something. I'm like, guys, you have to use this. There's got to be more views than that, because it's so helpful. So pop sockets, we've talked about it a few different times on this show, but one thing that does really, really well on pop sockets is monograms. Yeah. And there's 26 letters in the alphabet. That takes a while to do one by one by one. When you do the variation tool, you design one, and then it automatically makes the rest of the alphabet for you.
Yeah, so the way you would do that is you would design your pop socket, right? So you put your background on, you put like whatever you want on it, and then you have all these different letters. So essentially what you do is you just take a CSV file. So if you have Excel or Google Sheets, anything like that, and you just put A through Z in there, or you can put,
you can use a text file. That's what I did. Like just notepad on the computer, put ABCD. Yeah, ABCD, yeah, one time, and then I have that text file saved as alphabet, and then that's it. So easy.
So we have that. I see Merchon in the chat. We added, on his suggestion, I think we added a, what am I trying to say, patterns. It's a bunch of different, so you can take any kind of thing. So let's say you have an image or you have a monogram, and you're like, wow, I want to patternize this. You can take whatever you create and turn that into different types of patterns.
And you made that back when it was just pop sockets. Now we've got cell phone cases, which patterns look great on that too. So guys, we have a video on that if you want to see in more depth. Just look up in our channel, Merge and Former patterns. So,
yeah, I mean, at the very end of the day, we just wanted to make sure that even if you aren't a designer, that you have tools to create something that looks good. Because I mean, I've seen it and you've seen it. People create stuff that's hideous.
Yeah.
It just really is. And then they want to know why it doesn't sell. And, sometimes you have to be the bearer of bad news and be like, this is not very good. So, yeah, it's going to take some time to spend creating something that looks good, but it's also fairly easy to use once you have, some graphics.
And then speaking of which, if you are not like, I don't know, an illustrator to make your own graphics, it also comes with 100 graphics a month, right?
So yeah, so we started that end of last year. I want to say, I don't have it in front of me. I think it was like November, December 2019. We were like, well, why don't we just, we have graphic artists. Why don't we just create these different vectors? And for anyone who doesn't know, a vector is simply just like a math formula. Okay, so it looks like an image, but you can make it as big as you want or as small as you want. It'll never pixelate. Because I see people all the time taking these like 100 pixel PNG or like JPEGs and blowing them up to 4500 by 5400. They're hideous.
Or what's worse is they like put it on other platforms. So now it's trying to be like a shower curtain. And
yeah, exactly. Just like a 10,000 pixel image that you can pick out each individual pixel. Terrible. So anyways, we basically released 100 a month based on suggestions from people who use Merch Informer. So we'll draw them up, and I think right now there's 1,300 of them in there. So essentially what you do is you log into Merch Informer and you would download them. You can upload them. So the SVGs are what you're looking for. Those are the vector graphics. I just want to say hi to Amy real quick. The
Merch Queen herself is in the chat.
She showed up.
Yeah.
So you'd upload these vector graphics, right? And let's say the great thing about vector graphics is that you can change them. So for example, I think we have like a for sale sign in front of a house in the latest pack that we just released. Because the real estate market is really hot right now.
Yes.
Insane. So anyways, let's just say that the sign was blue. And you're like, I hate blue. That's terrible. I want to put this on a black shirt. You can literally just upload that to the designer, open up the vector editor and change it to whatever color you want. And then, save it as a shirt and upload it. So fairly easy.
Juna's in the chat too. And Christopher. He's saying those graphics are awesome. Hi, Juna. Hi, Christopher. Hi, everybody. What was I going to say? Okay, so the graphics, guys, that's big. If you don't have Merch Informer and you get it now, I checked with Neil, you get all 1,300. So you don't miss all the previous ones.
And here's the thing, too. Like, if you go out and try to hire someone to do that, which, I would have to. I'm not a graphic artist. You'd be paying, for 1,300, let's just say 5 to 10, maybe 15 to 20. Like, at the very least, that's what's 5 times 1,300. It's over $5,000. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So
it adds up. But
I wish people would use them more. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And guys, the designer tool anyway. So easy. Oh, the other thing is like, even if you are buying design, so I kind of slowly went into it. Once I learned how to design myself, I still was buying most of the designs, but sometimes you just need to change something small about it. So I would just import the design that was done into Merch Informer and then just add something or change something, change the words or whatever.
That is exactly how I use it, because I still have designers that create most of the graphics.
Yeah.
Like I'll create super simple stuff, like when I'm watching the debates or something, you know, quick text-based or just like I'm gonna throw something up. But most of my designs are still from people who actually have, you know, talent in the graphic arts, which is not me. So you know, you can use it for pretty much anything.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's one part of Merch Informer. Moving on. And guys, feel free to ask questions. There's so much. And I can't believe it's already 8:25. So we got 35 minutes to go over everything else. Tell us about the Merch Informer Marketplace, because that's new. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. So we just launched. That's very new. We spent a long time. So going back to getting designs made, finding people who can create good stuff, we decided to build out our own marketplace where people can, you know, interact with. So buyers can interact with sellers and find people who actually can create designs for them. So we just launched that. If anyone here is a good graphic artist, I would highly suggest that you sign up. It's essentially just a marketplace that you can buy and sell on. So buyers will sign up. We are checking currently all of the stuff that gets put up just to make sure that there's not like a bunch of junk being thrown up there. So it's vetted currently. People set their own prices, and there's also like a system where you can interact with them and put through requests. So like if you find someone who has one graphic and you're like, wow, I really like that style, because I mean, at least for me, it's all about finding the style that fits on Merch by Amazon. Like once you have that down, you can crank out so much good material.
Yeah.
So then you just reach out to them and come to an agreement, and you know,
communicate
back and forth. So yeah, that's fairly new.
You're gonna have to like let me know how to send people to you, because we get so many people posting, and so I just want to apologize for anybody whose posts I've deleted. Like we just try to have a balance of like not having too many promotional things in the group, but at the same point I do want to help all these artists and all these people. So if you have something and your post has been deleted, reach out to me, send me a message. We'll figure it out. If there's a way we can have you send your artwork to Neil. Or there's also like Creative Fabrica, and there's so many other places where you can actually sell your graphics and your art and everything right there. So there's a lot of different avenues for all the artists in the group.
Yeah, so if any artist is out there listening, market.merchinformer.com.
Oh, okay, that's super easy.
Or you can go to the blog, and I put a ginormous banner on the right
blog,
side. So.
that's on here too. Let's talk about the blog real quick. Speaking of underrated, I feel like, I don't know, maybe a ton of people do read it. I'm not sure. But if there's not, you guys should read it. It's a great blog.
It's not a blog in the sense of like, oh, here's my daily thoughts. It's more of like a...
Well, it's helpful, like helpful article.
It's like an accumulation of like all the knowledge about print on demand that I can bring together. Like there's interviews. I know Amy's in here. We did an interview with her like a year and a half ago, which is really awesome. You can go look at that. I mean, there's articles in there, in-depth articles about how to run, you know, advertisements and not lose all your money.
That's what I mean. Like every single blog post is something that is very informative. It's not just something like, oh, it's Monday, I got to throw up a blog post. Like it's really thought out and like helpful stuff.
The last one, which is probably on your list, is about creating brand pages on Amazon advertising. So I'm getting so many messages about that. I probably shouldn't have posted that until Merch has rolled out advertising to everyone. But people who do have access to...
I thought they did roll it out to everyone. It's not to everyone yet?
They started, right? They put it in the messages box. But I feel like they rolled it out to, you know, 10% of people, and then I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything else. So tons of people don't have access to it. But
I didn't realize. I thought that everybody did now. I thought it was like, oh, good, it's back. Like everybody has it.
Yeah. So I mean, once you do have access to it, and I think this is the biggest thing, is that so many people that do have access to it, they're like, I'm just going to throw up ads, as many ads as I can get for cheap CPCs. But the problem with that is, let's say you're running an ad on Amazon, okay? And as a buyer, you show up on Amazon, you see this ad, and let's say you click it. The first thing you're going to do is look at blah, blah, blah. You're probably going to scroll down the page and you're going to notice, you know, Amazon is recommending you these 20 other shirts against the bottom, and none of those are yours, right? So like there's chances for you to lose out on that sale. So could Neil turn up his sound? I don't know. Is that better?
There you go. Wow. Perfect. I didn't even notice, but now that you turn it up, I'm like, that is better.
Yeah. So the point of creating these brand pages so that you can have all of your designs on one page, and you can actually, not only can you like give that to your mom, give that to your dad or your sister, whoever's like, hey, I want to see what you do.
Yeah.
You can run ads to those brand pages. So every single product a customer sees is yours. Like if they like anything on that page, you're going to make money from them.
That's amazing. Yeah. You can start to build up all kinds of stuff. Pinterest pages that lead to that, or Facebook pages, Instagram. I mean, you could do whatever you want with it, right? And send people to that link. Yeah.
I mean, and there's multiple pages. Like I know someone who creates different brand pages for different holidays, right? So like they have like a Halloween brand page, and they'll only use that during Halloween, and then each Halloween they'll switch out their ASINs, because you add them by ASIN. So the example post I did wasn't my shirts. Those were like the top selling shirts on merch. I just added random ASINs in there. But you can add whatever you want.
Yeah. I think that's so useful. So again, look at his blog. It shows step-by-step how to do it. So
there's like hundreds of thousands of words in there that I've written. Don't get overwhelmed. Like, find what you're looking for, read through it. Like, please learn something. Yeah. But then I want to stress, like, after you've done that, like, go act on that information.
Yes.
Like,
take action right away.
Yeah. So many people just get like information overload. They all they want to do is consume instead of create. And like, I want to encourage you guys to go out there and create stuff.
Yes. Yes. That's partly why we only do one show a week. Now it's even less than that. So anybody who's like, what do you mean one show a week? But anyway, because you want to take action during the week. Like, you don't want to just keep like learning and never actually doing anything with it.
Because then you won't get anywhere. Like, you might theoretically understand when we're talking about pricing or creating designs, but like after 3 weeks of that, you're not in any better spot.
Yeah. And it's easier actually to listen to the interviews when you've done something, because then then when we're talking about it, you're like, oh yeah, I did get stuck there. Or, oh, now I see what I was missing, or, so
that is especially true when it comes to Photoshop tutorials, because I know what's his name has done a few of them in the comments, and like if I'd never used Photoshop before, I'd just be like, what is going on? But I mean, I fiddled around. So
for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, I started this channel when I was still learning. So to me, it was like every week I get to learn, then implement, then I learn again the next week, then implement. So yeah. All right, we're sidetracked. All right, there's so much. This we haven't even scratched the surface of Merch Informer yet. So we talked about Merch Informer Marketplace. We talked about the designer tool. Okay, what about with all the new people? This is another thing I feel like people don't talk about enough, is the Merch Academy that you have on there.
Yes. Yeah. So it's basically a video course, and the reason that it's basically me for hours on end. It's different videos kind of stepping you through the entire process.
It's helpful. I definitely watched some of them. And then I before the show, I was researching and looked on it and saw that you have a Merch Academy 2.0. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so we did that a long time ago. So anyways, we just kept all the videos up there. I mean, essentially we did one. We actually changed around a lot of the stuff like inside of the software. So we wanted to do another one explaining sort of like more in depth instead of more of, a broad overview of everything. But I mean, the reason we did that is we want people to actually see some success and make their first sales. I mean, it all goes back to, when people send me a question or they're like, hey, I came up with this design. What do you think? And I look at it, and either the design is bad, or they didn't use any keywords, or their title is 2 words. I can't respond to everyone at scale, and I get so many of these. So I was like, well, why don't we just put a video course together that people can go through whenever they want, and actually, take some stuff away from that in order to use that in their own business. So
yes. So that comes right with Merch Informer.
Yeah, you log in, and if you have a big enough screen, it'll be right at the very top. If you don't, it'll be under your name on the right-hand corner.
So if everybody's asked like about merch courses, this is one you don't even have to pay for because it's just included with Merch Informer. So I think that's huge advantage. We kind of talked about single upload. Can we talk about that more? The single upload interface. I know you have added so many new platforms. How many does it go to now?
So the single upload interface, we built a desktop software inside of Merch Informer to take all your merch designs and get them pretty much everywhere you can think of. So right now it's Redbubble, Spreadshirt, Teespring, Spreadshirt. Oh my gosh. Zazzle and you know what? Let me just open it up so I'm stop filling.
I feel like it was a lot of places because doesn't it go to like Amazon and Etsy and stuff too?
Yes. Okay. I got it open.
Okay.
So you have Redbubble, Spreadshirt, Zazzle, and Teespring. Okay. Those are the main. Those are the like marketplaces.
Yes.
And those are just going to sell on those actual marketplaces, which means they already have their source of traffic. People go to Redbubble to purchase stuff. People go to Spreadshirt to purchase things. And the thing with these different marketplaces are, some people are going just to Redbubble to purchase. They don't want to purchase from Amazon for one reason or another. So you're missing out on all this money by not uploading there. And the reason you're not uploading there is it takes forever.
It just takes too long, yeah.
And it's a huge pain. And you're not going to see the type of return you are on merch. So let's say your merch account makes $1,000 a month. Like these other platforms might bring in $100, $200 a month. So for you, doing all that manually doesn't make much sense. But if you could just throw all your stuff up there in, a click of a single button to make $200 extra a month, like I'm all in, right?
Plus they have other products that merch doesn't have. Merch takes longer to have new products because it has to be such a big scale. Like they can't just be like, oh, we have this provider that can make a couple thousand. It's like, no, they need a provider that can make hundreds of thousands. So that's why it takes forever to get any new product. But somebody like Redbubble or some of these other places, they have face masks and they have all these other things that are selling so well right now. So sometimes it's actually like especially face masks. I mean, that's actually worth your time right now on some of these other platforms.
For sure. And then, so those are the 4 marketplaces. And then we added Printful, Printify, and Guten. So those are going to be print-on-demand suppliers. They're not marketplaces per se, but they hook up to pretty much everything. So they hook up to Etsy. So if you guys are selling on Etsy, you can find, 1.5 million products. Each one of these providers has like 100+ products, right? Yeah. I think Zazzle as a marketplace actually has like 10,000 or something.
Yeah, like they have a lot.
You can hook it up to so Printful. Little known fact, I don't see very many people talking about this. They actually hook up to Amazon Seller Central. So if you are willing to go through the hoops for that, like you can get a ton of products that merch does not offer up on Amazon with your own little buy box. So that's something that people should take a look at. But those, they integrate with everything. They integrate with eBay. The most recent one I think we added was Guten because people were kind of getting annoyed at Printful and Printify with their shipping times. And they offer even more products that some of those other ones don't offer. So we built it in a way that I think is fairly easy, but just for everyone watching, you need a CSV file. Okay, so that's Excel or Google Sheets, completely free. And what it does is you basically just fill out your information of all your shirts. So what I do is whenever I get a new batch of shirts or I create some shirts, I just make a new line in my file. I give it a title. I give it some bullets. Some of these have tags, so I'll give it tags, price, and then a location of where it is on your computer. And literally all you do when you use the single upload interface is you just like pick some options. You're like, hey, I want to upload this to mugs. Click. This is the image I want to upload. This is the price I want to upload. You're just mixing and matching, and then you just click one button. You log in. We don't save any user information at all. So you'll click upload. It'll open up a window where you log in yourself, and then it will just rip through your entire list.
That's another one we did a video. So if you want to see like on the screen, Neil walks through how to do it. So just look up single uploader. All right. Awesome. I mean, print on demand is like the sky's the limit. There's so many platforms, so many ways.
And it's hard to focus on everything. I mean, that's why we built this, is because most people are focusing on merch, understandably, because that's where most of the traffic is.
But I think the other thing, so this is another interesting thing. Anybody who watched all the beginning videos, I only did merch by Amazon. Like that's all I talked about. And anytime people said anything, they're like, Helen, you gotta try all these other things. I'm like, I gotta focus. I gotta get to my 10,000. I got to my 10,000 and then like immediately stopped uploading. So I had like 8,000 shirts up, but I had hit 10K tier. Immediately stopped and started working on KDP and working on Redbubble and all these other things.
But did you use some of your merch designs on KDP?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
because those designs are assets in your business.
Yes, and you can put it on all these other platforms. And there's no time limit. Like everybody wants to do everything today, but it's like, no, like now this year I was able to upload to other platforms and KDP and all this other stuff. And I'm sure next year after that, I'll do other things. And then I got back to uploading once they added cell phones and all these other marketplaces. But not a whole lot of brand new designs. I've been taking any of my designs that are proven and selling well and uploading it to all the other products. So it's kind of like,
are you translating
a free year?
No?
Oh, translations on my list to talk about. Do you have a translation tool, or
we built like a Google Sheets, like Excel tool. Now that does so essentially what that does. That's in a blog post that merchformer.com/blog. What it does is you essentially will enter in your information in whatever language is your native language. So mine's English. I unfortunately do not speak another language, but it'll use Google Translate to translate that stuff to all the other languages. Now, keep in mind, Google Translate, not perfect. There's not going to be any translating tool out there that's automatic that is going to be right 100% of the time. So, I mean,
speaking of new translator tools, have you had the new update on, at least it's new on my phone. I don't know if I am early or late to it, but there was an update that I got yesterday or the day before where now there's a translator app. I don't know if you guys have seen it on iPhone.
I don't have an iPhone.
Oh, you don't have an iPhone? Okay, well, it's on an iPhone, and I tried it out today, and I just like said, "Hi, my name's Helen." I don't know, whatever, a couple sentences, and it immediately speaks it in whatever language you pick. So if you're trying to have a conversation with someone, or like if you're asking for directions or whatever, you can just say it in English, and it speaks it out loud in whatever language you want, and it also writes it. So you could, it's really cool.
When you come across someone that lives in another country and you're like trying to converse in English and they know a little bit of English, but it just sounds broken.
Yeah.
That's probably the same thing you're going to get when you do any type of auto translations.
Yeah.
Now, it does work though, and it works because it's going to get the main keywords correct. So, I mean, if your main keywords are, candy and Halloween, it's gonna get those. It might not sound right if you like read it out loud in Spanish or something, but it's gonna probably get those main keywords correct, and those main keywords are how the product ends up playing.
Oh, Merchon says he thinks the listings ends up being too long when he translates. I think that's for German, right? That's the language I've noticed. It ends up being too long.
Yeah. Well, here's something that I have been starting to do. I know a couple people that speak fluent German. So my plan is, because I have a bunch of these shirts up in the other marketplaces in plain English. So what I'm going to do, I haven't fully done this yet, is translate them using some sort of auto translator. So 90% of the work is done, and then send that to someone who speaks the actual language and outsource, fixing it up so it doesn't sound like broken.
That's German, a good idea.
Spanish, something like that.
That's awesome.
And you shouldn't have to pay too much for that. I would assume.
Yeah.
Because most of it's already done for you automatically.
Awesome. And that's a great idea. Okay, so check out the blog post for the translation tool. We'll check that off. Merch Lister, I had right by that, because Merch Lister, I don't know if that's underrated or not, but I love using that. That helps so much.
We just updated that the other day because them switching pop sockets
ended
up breaking it again.
Yeah.
But we just uploaded that. What the Merch Lister does is it allows you to hotkey all of the repetitive stuff that no one wants to do, like selecting colors or entering prices. And there's so many products now. Entering prices takes so long, so much of your time. And so basically what you'll do is you'll go into the merch lister, you'll put your title, your bullets, your keywords, the prices, the colors, anything that you're selecting on merch. And let's say you set your hotkey to Shift R. That's usually what I do for my main one.
Yeah.
You open up merch, you go create product, you upload your images, and you just hit Shift R, and it fills out everything. And then you just submit. So super fast.
And you don't have to fill in all the fields. So if you don't want it to do that, so the way I do it is I don't fill in I don't remember if you have to have a title, but I don't fill in the bullets and all of that. I just save the colors I want to select and the prices I want to select. And I just save it as like a hotkey. And then anytime I'm uploading to t-shirts, it's automatically ready to go. So then I can just fill in the bullet points myself. But I have that hotkey to have everything else done. And then I also can save a different one for pop sockets, or sometimes you just want a different hotkey for specific things, or you want one that's light colors and one that's dark colors.
Yep, that's a big one. People do
a couple of different ones set up.
But I mean, that is how, when you see people uploading, 1,000 products a day, which I mean, now that there's like 60 products, it's really not that many. So maybe I should bump that up to like 10,000 products a day. I mean, it's because they're not spending all their time clicking black, blue, like,
and like thinking about like, oh, what color do I want to pick, and like taking forever on each one. It's like, no, just have your pick ones you pick. And
and keep in mind too, for all of the higher tiers out there, when new products launch or new marketplaces launch, we cannot update it in 30 seconds. So I get I get a lot of message about that.
I'm just kidding.
Well, we need to make sure that it works for the people who have the new products and the people who do not have the new products. And we need to make sure that the test accounts that we use them on have access to the new products. So just keep that in mind. No, I know. I'm just saying, just keep that in mind before I get a bunch of messages about it being broken when merch launches new stuff, which they've been on fire this year, launching new things all the time. So
hi, Eric, and hi, Cheryl. Sorry, Eric, I keep missing your comments. He's saying, any tips for the Japan market?
Translate your listings. I've not had so much success in the Japan market. Haven't really focused on it that much. I think what they're into is not what we are into. The graphic, like, the big bold statements on t-shirts, I don't really think that jives with their culture. Now, I might just be completely wrong. But that's kind of what I'm seeing from what's selling well over there.
I've just been uploading to everywhere and every product, and then I'll go back once there's more products up and kind of do a little more research, figure it out.
Merchon is asking about new marketplaces in the Merch Hunter and the Merch Archive. We're working on that. It's taking us a little bit longer because the different marketplaces act a little bit differently than the Merch US marketplace, but that's definitely something we are working on. Keep in mind, too, though, a lot of the research that you're going to do for the most success is going to be in the US market, and that's going to translate into the other markets. Now, I know I just said that's not going to be true for Japan, so there are the exceptions, but I found that most of the time the US market is translatable to these other markets.
Yep. And it's up to you. If you live in one of those countries or you're familiar with it, I mean, by all means, do the research, put up things specific to there, because you will be ahead of the curve, because the rest of us have to kind of figure it out as we go. So a lot of people feel like they have to start with the US market. And for most people, that probably will be the most successful way to go. But you never know. If you know the Japan market well, or Germany, try there first. There's no set in stone rules of what you have to do.
Very true. That's the beauty of print on demand.
Yes, even like uploading designs to products that you wouldn't think of. So, Christmas designs and winter designs and things like that, you can still put it on tank tops, and then vice versa. Like, I remember I put some like beach designs and summer designs on long sleeve shirts, and it's like, why would you ever do that? But there are people like me that are so pale that they burn so easily that you literally have to wear a long sleeve shirt to the beach.
There is And don't be afraid to put up stuff that's just like completely ridiculous. So 2 years ago, I may even posted this in Merch Money. I had this design made because I was going to make like a Merch Informer post. And I had this design made that was just so stupid. It was this old lady, and it was talking about moist cake. Okay, it was like, do you remember this? It says like, I hope your cake is as moist as I am because people hate the word moist. I put it up at $14.99. You know what? Let me go look at it. It's got a ton of reviews.
It's probably sold so much. Oh my God.
I hope your cake is as moist.
I don't think I could wear that. I'd be too embarrassed.
It's got 28 reviews. I haven't touched it. And it sells every day. Every single day that shirt sells. And I just threw it up as a joke.
Oh gosh. Anything you throw up as a joke.
People find humor. And I mean, you're sitting here laughing. You come across that on Amazon, you're like, I did not want this shirt, but now I need to buy it because it's so cheap.
And you just buy it as a joke for somebody a lot of times.
It's probably just a gag gift, but 28 reviews on something that I thought was like the dumbest idea was just going to get a rise out of someone on Facebook.
Yep.
2 years later.
And then everybody's asking about different products. People are asking about mugs, pillows. They want to know if you know when all this stuff is coming to merch.
I do not know when these things are coming to merch. I know they're working on one other product. It's not mugs or pillows, though. No idea when it's going to be here, though. So, sorry.
To me, it's just a pleasant surprise whenever it comes because it's like this is what I could see when merch first started and all we had was T-shirts. But it's hard for people to see it's going to be so much more. And I feel like it's still we're still so far in the beginning. I feel like eventually they have to have a lot more product, right?
Look at Redbubble, for example. They probably have 30 or 40 products.
A lot more than they used to.
What are we sitting at? 12? I don't know. Without off the top of my head, I mean, it's something like that. But I mean, eventually, Amazon in general wants to take over. Right?
Yeah.
They're pretty good at it. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're heading in the long term. And I know people get so mad when you're like, well, merch is in its infancy phase. They really are. They do.
I feel like they are.
They move quite slowly, but that's because
it's so big.
It's so big. I mean, you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of shirts being sold each month.
And you got to think your time. So in the beginning, it takes forever because you're you have to make each design or you have to buy each design. So it's either expensive or time consuming, one or the other. But eventually, this year, I've hardly spent any money at all because I just keep putting all the designs on all the other products and all the other platforms. So it's eventually you end up making more money from every single design because it can go on more products and more things and more platforms. So.
Well, when anyone starts a business, you either have, one of two things. You have time or you have money.
Yep.
So, but the cool thing about print on demand is that you can take, let's say you bought a design for $10 and, 4 years later, that one design for $10 has made you $1,000. Over that span. That is an insane ROI.
Yes.
You can't get that anywhere else.
No, you really can't. But then there's also ones that maybe never sold or only sold a few times. So it kind of evens out in the first year or two. Depending on how great you are at this. But over time, I feel like I could just completely stop and it still makes money every single month. So over time, your ROI just keeps getting better and better and better because you're spending less and less and still making the same amount.
And over time, you're gaining that sales velocity and those reviews. So that it just keeps ramping up. You don't have to do anything. I don't think I'd recommend not doing anything.
No, you want to keep up with it. And if you do ads and things like that, of course, you'll sell even more. But technically, there's definitely been a couple months where I've barely touched it because I've been focusing on other things. So, and you still get paid. So.
but you put a lot of work in up front.
In the beginning,
it's not truly passive income that everyone talks about, but it's worth it for sure.
So, all right, guys, I can't believe it's already 9. Do you have a time you have to get off? Do we have to stop at 9?
We don't have to stop at 9, no.
Okay, well, we might go a couple minutes over then.
Right.
I'll try not to keep you too long.
Eric, I see you're asking when we're going to get pillows on merch. Dude, we just got phone cases, which you have been asking me about for 2 years. So go upload some phone cases.
All right. So keyword tool and research, like that's the whole entire point of Merch Informer. And we're like just now getting to it. So we're talking about you have so much stuff now. So tell us a little bit about doing research with Merch Informer.
Well, where do you begin? There's a million things that you can come at it with. I mean, so in terms of the keyword tool, that's probably going to be the most helpful after you already have a product. So, I mean, if you have a product that's related to, I don't know, the financial markets, right? You're like, how do I keyword this to get it in front of people? That's going to give you Amazon search volume. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's fairly close. Amazon doesn't actually give that information. But we have run like hundreds of thousands of tests, and it's very good. So you can basically go in there and figure out like, okay, this keyword gets this many searches a month, and you can fit that keyword as long as it's related to your product in your title, in your bullet points. Because so many times I see people put up a shirt, they have no idea who this shirt is for, and they end up just putting random dad, mom, gift, brother. Like,
yeah.
That's never going to sell. It has to be super specific, and you have to make sure those super specific keywords are actually being searched. So that's what the keyword tool is for. Doing research on Merch Informer, you can do 1.5 million things. I mean, we have a section for trending designs, so designs that are just starting to take off, looking at their sales velocity. We have ways to go in and look at how many estimated monthly sales some of the top sellers are getting. Now, that's not to say go copy them. That's just to say, hey, people are really interested in
this topic.
X, this topic. And then you can come up with original stuff. I know some people like to do their research off Amazon. So we have like a social module where you can look through Etsy. You can look through Pinterest.
Yeah.
You can sort all of that information by social proof. So comments, repins, if we're talking about Pinterest. So tons of different things that you can do. Coming up with unique phrases, though, one of the best things I can tell you is if you go into Merch Informer, go over to the Pinterest module and just type in a random niche. I mean, you can just go in there and type in dogs. Okay. Super easy. It's not going to bring back t-shirts. You don't want to look at t-shirts. Just look at whatever people are posting and then take a phrase, find a phrase that's funny, go to merchresearch.com. That's a Merch Informer page. Enter in that phrase and click search. And it's going to pop up on Amazon, and you're going to, if it's a long tail phrase, a lot of the times you're going to see there's nothing on Amazon. So you looked at a huge niche over here on Pinterest, and you're like, hey, this got 1,000 repins. People must like it. Maybe it's on like a card or
those like GIFs that everybody shares on Facebook.
Exactly. And you can cross-reference that to Amazon. So you have this term in a huge niche, and the term doesn't exist on Amazon. So you can go and put it up, make something unique, and you'll be selling within this massive niche. So, I mean, it's not really saturated when people think about it, as long as they're coming at it from a unique angle.
And you guys, if you're not a designer, you can try it as text-based first. And if that gets traction and sells, then you can send it to your designer and be like, can you make this properly for me?
Well, it's great. I mean, creating something text-based, if it's really easy, will take, maximum 30 seconds? I mean, we're not chicken pecking here. So 30 seconds, and if you make a sale, you made, a few dollars on it.
But that's what I mean.
Seconds, it's like for 30 seconds of work, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I proved the concept. Like, let's get someone who knows what they're doing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people stop there and they're like, oh, it's sold, awesome. And then they go about their day. But it's like, no, if it's sold with like a very simple design, then give it to a graphic designer who can actually, even if they do a text design, it's still going to look better than your text design.
And when it comes to research, if you've been doing merch for a while, the first thing that you should do is pull your sales report. Like, don't even go look what's on Amazon. Don't do what I just said. Pull your sales report and figure out what people are buying from you, and then just do more of that. And then you can cross-reference that from the stuff you see in Merch Informer to do even more. So start with your sales report if you've been doing merch for a while, and that's 80% of what you need to do right there, because, hey, you proved the concept. Someone else across the internet, wherever they are, liked it. Just do more of it.
Yeah, so simple. That was definitely something took me a while to learn, but once I learned it, I'm like, oh my gosh. You get so much more traction on the shirts. Like, you did all the hard work. You found the concept, you made the first shirt, then it's so easy to just make a few variations or slightly different concept
people
or
shouldn't
whatever.
be focusing on getting the shirt that does 200 sales a day.
Yeah.
You know, I think people should be focusing on the easy wins first. Those are the shirts that sell 1 or 2 a month, right? You build up a portfolio of those, and all of a sudden, hey, now you have some money you can invest into going after bigger niches, maybe driving traffic, maybe trying some other things. But building up that foundation of stuff that's going to sell year round is crucial, so you don't get destroyed in the slow months.
Certain trends come and go too. So if you know, some of them last forever. I mean, if you're talking about a holiday or something like that, but some trends eventually end. So you just a combination. You want to have a little bit of everything, because you could definitely do well if you hit a trend.
Oh, well, the Eclipse, perfect example.
Exactly.
Probably not selling very well now, but people made 6 figures in 1 month selling an Eclipse 1 t-shirt. So
so a mix of both.
Yep.
Because sometimes if you go just for trends, you might just miss it somehow. Like sometimes it seems like something's going to take off and then it really doesn't, or so.
You have a lot of politics. A lot.
Yep.
You're like, that's hilarious. People are going to want to buy it. Then no one cares. And you're like, all right, well, hey, I spent 30 seconds. I didn't hit a home run. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, all right. There has been so many comments. I feel like we missed so many, but I think we covered the basis of Merch Informer. So if there's anything else you want to add, Neil, and I'm going to quickly look through these comments and see what we missed.
Anything that I want to add? I don't know. We covered a lot.
We really covered the whole thing. So thank you. So you're going to need a nap after this. That was a lot.
That was a lot. I don't know. Hopefully everyone voted.
Oh, Teresa's saying
throw that out there. She's
been getting sales on really old stuff, maybe because Amazon's working on stuff in the back end. I do feel like that sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, somehow this shirt got resurrected. What happened? Why is it selling again?
Could be. I don't know.
Oh, Mario's watching Monday Night Football. So, guys, this is like, for all of you watching, thank you. I mean, there's so much going on in the world. Monday Night Football, election tomorrow.
It's Monday. Yep. For a minute, I thought it was Tuesday. I'm losing my mind over here.
Neil's like, I would not have done the show if I knew I was missing football. Whoops.
Hey, no, I watched football yesterday. The Packers lost, so.
Oh, Merchant was saying he had 30,000 BSR. Awesome. Let's see. Can you talk about new Merch Informer Marketplace? We did cover that. Tips for selling on Japan. Rejection for PopSocket. Sorry, guys, I'm just real quick. I couldn't keep up with the comments during the show, so I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything important. Teresa's daughter is a real estate agent in Jacksonville, Florida, if anybody needs one. My mom is also a real estate agent in New Jersey.
They're probably crushing it. The market is so there's no inventory anywhere.
Well, they're in New Jersey, and New York City is right there, so it's like everybody moving out of the city. Yeah, it's definitely good in New Jersey right now. What else? Oh, Christopher is asking about an app for merch designer for Android.
Yeah, okay. Good point. Thank you for the question. The designer itself is mobile responsive. So you don't need an app. You literally just go to designer.merchinformer.com, or you can just click on it when you're inside on your phone, and it'll open up and it'll resize itself. You'll be able to diddle around on it on your phone, which is kind of what I've done during these debates.
Yep. Teresa's saying your blog is amazing, which it is. And then Eric's saying he gets errors when he tries to advertise. I haven't really tried it, so I can't answer that question.
Eric, if you actually write if you have an AMS account or Amazon advertising account, if you actually write them like a support ticket, they'll get back to you with like an actual human response, which is fairly nice when you're used to dealing with merch by Amazon. So that's probably what I'd recommend there.
Merchant was giving advice on running ads. That's awesome. Let's see. Okay, Teresa was asking if your designs have different brand names, can you still do the merch store?
Yeah. So you can do a merch store on whatever you want. You add designs by ASIN. So if you go through the article that we put on the blog, you'll see like designs from 100 different brands on there. So you just add them by whatever ASIN you want. So as long as they're all related, that's probably the best thing you could do.
Christine is a real artist.
Yes.
She loves Photoshop. Yep. Yes. If you are an actual graphic designer, definitely use Photoshop.
For sure.
Oh, here we go. When will we get Merch Hunter for the new marketplaces, and will it also be available for the Merch Archive?
I think I may have touched on that. We are working on it. Just the different marketplaces a little bit different than the US. So hopefully soon, but I don't want to give a date on anything unless I'm, in case I'm wrong.
Teresa's asking, are you adding printed mints at some point?
Not on the radar currently. With the amount of changes that all of the platforms are going through, we are doing our very best to keep up with them all. So not currently on that one.
Teresa does one platform per day. I like that. It's a good strategy.
Good stuff.
All right. Sorry, guys. Just real quick. Thank you guys for all these comments. And thank you all for watching. Just quickly going through. Cheryl was happy she caught us live. Merjohn's asking about mugs. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know if mugs are going to come to Merch anytime soon. That's just my own speculation because those things break constantly.
Oh, Merchon was asking if we could get some people from other countries. Yes, I have been wanting to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
At least probably 25 people have turned me down. So I have been asking a lot. It's actually pretty hard because people are nervous.
People are super nervous to speak in their not native language.
Yes.
Like my German friends or whatever, they're like, I don't want to get on a video because I'm gonna embarrass myself.
It's
several. But I'm like, I would never get on a video speaking German. I can speak 2 words.
It's several different problems. One is that people are just nervous to be on camera, period.
Yeah.
The other thing is they're nervous, like you said, to speak in the second language or third language or whatever it is. And then third, they are nervous just to like, what if they say something that's not right? Or like they don't feel like they're an expert. So they're like, and I'm like, well, you're more of an expert than we are because it's different, it's a different country. But people just are nervous. Like they, that imposter syndrome, that's what everybody has, where they're like, oh, well, I'm not an expert. I'm like, well, we're asking you to be on the show because we think you are. You are an expert. But so it's just to have that confidence. So we've had a few people from other countries, but Germany, I found somebody to be on the show. He was going to come on a week or 2 ago. And then it was actually my fault. I ended up not being able to do the show that day. I forget what was the problem. So we rescheduled, but it's just somehow the timing hasn't worked. So hopefully we'll get him on at some point. But if anybody's watching and they would like to talk about any of the marketplaces, so Japan, Germany, Spain, Italy, any of those, we'd love to have you on the show. So just send me a message. Or if you want to be in the show in general, just send me a message and we'll talk about it. All right. I know we're over, so we'll wrap this up.
I see a few more questions. Let's see. What's the line drawn on mask designs? I think mask designs are fine. With merch, you just don't want to mention COVID, COVID-19, pandemic, anything like that. If you don't do that, you should be okay. And then I saw about adding a question, was wondering what my opinion is on adding the word shirt, t-shirt to titles descriptions. I have not done that. Instead of adding the word t-shirt, I mean, they append that to the end of your titles. If I'm going to talk about that in a description or a bullet point, I will just refer to it as a design and not a t-shirt or a long sleeve or whatever. So that's probably the easiest way because, I mean, I didn't want to go through and since they batched everything under one upload process, I don't want to go through and be like, okay, well, now I have to change this and change this. And
yeah, I left it the way it was. And unless I'm going back to add them to new products anyway, I've been taking out words like that if I'm, revisiting an old design to upload it to new products.
Yep.
I'm taking out those words plus fixing it up a little to be a little bit better with keywords. So, and then why have we not gotten Canada? What's the deal with that?
Amazon Canada is probably pretty small. So what you can do is if you take like the domain and you run it through something called similarweb.com, that'll give you a very, very, very rough idea of how much traffic they get. So let me just do that real quick. It'll load. Hold on. Let's see what it says. My internet's being awfully slow. Amazon.ca. And
I'm glad it's not just me. Like it's been okay tonight. I'll glitchy here and there every so often, and I'm always just like, I need like a tech guy or like a camera guy. Like I feel like at some point I have to become a YouTuber. I'm like, I don't know how to do it. It's so funny. I'm like, I have a YouTube channel, don't know how to do YouTube. Not very good with technology, not good with designing, but somehow do this whole thing. So don't feel bad, guys. If you feel like you're lacking in one area or another, you can learn it. You can do fine.
So it says that Amazon.ca gets about 170 million visitors a month, which is quite a lot. But when you consider, if you compare that to the US, that gets like, it's got a big B after it, billions of people a month, a lot smaller. But I mean, it is comparable. I'm looking at the Spanish one. It is comparable to the Spanish Amazon. So I don't know.
There's always probably some kind of logistics, something is probably holding it up, whether it's, who knows, politics or something.
Something. My guess is that in Europe, right, all the countries are so close together that you don't need a print provider in every single country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can get products there in one day. Canada is so big that you'd need your own printing facilities there. That's scale, a good point. At scale too. So I don't know.
Something to look forward to, I'm sure, eventually.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much, Neil, and everybody saying thank you for being on the show. Thank you, Angie and Mario. Mario, I got to meet way back before Merch Money. So thank you for continuing to watch the show all this time.
What episode is this? Like, how many have you done?
I wish I numbered them. People told me all the time, why don't you number them? It's just one of those things.
Oh, you should go back and count them.
I haven't learned how to be a YouTuber yet or a podcaster. I think like partly why I didn't want to number it is because sometimes you just throw in a random show and I'm like, does that count? Should it be numbered? Should it not? Because sometimes there's an announcement, like when merch went down and I like went on and talked about it. I'm like, does that count as an episode or was that? So I just like overthought the numbering thing because there was, sometimes we do like a quick show to explain how to do something or like, I'm like, what qualifies as a show or not a show? And I just gave up. I'm like, I'm not numbering this.
Oh, man.
So, but thank you. So Mario I met from FBA days. So I don't remember what year that was, but thank you for following me to Merch and watching all this time. Dina, I got to meet in person at the Merch UK event. She bought me a Merlot. That was awesome.
Nice.
Merch on is saying I need to convince Lisa Irby. Yes, she is definitely one of the people that has turned me down. She did it very nicely though. She said she doesn't go on other people's YouTube channels, and I like fact checked that because I was like, is she just turning me down? But she really doesn't that much. I haven't seen her do too many interviews, so I don't know why she doesn't want to do it. But I did ask her. And a lot of people, don't worry, they're on my like ask again. I used to do sales, so I have a whole like, okay, I'll ask them again in 6 months. This person a year from now, like
you got the harassment down, like you.
I got the harassment down. But yeah, I got a whole pipeline of people to ask again. We'll see. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Neil. This was awesome. And I hope everybody has a good rest, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yep. All right. See you guys.
Bye, everybody.